So here's a look at some of the stuff on plate 13, which is just an absolutely gorgeous view of the trying plane that's shown in Roubaud. And he shows it in a very workmanlike manner, as he would say, sort of the section views that you need to create the triplane. I just love the handle and the volute up on the front. But even when you are just looking at these plates, some of the cool stuff that really jumps out at you, even without the text, is here. Let's take a close look up here. So here are the pitches that Roubaud suggests for the triplane, from 45, 55, and one in between, plus what's obviously the geometrical representation of how to lay out the pitch on the edge of the plane. You also can see, he draws out the wedge, which here is absolutely gorgeous. And I love this picture of the plane irons, which are obviously tapered. And when you get up really close to them, you can really see some of the stuff that Roubaud is trying to tell you that isn't even in the text, but is only in the illustrations. Let's try to get even a little closer. Here you can see on the images that Roubaud drew himself. He's listed as the illustrator. That the iron is obviously curved, and you can see even the hollow grind there on the left of the iron. And looking down here, down at the rabbet plane, you can see clearly the sneck that he calls out for rabbet planes, the French shape of the wedge, and some other cool things on a rabbet plane. And we'll get even a little closer here, I hope, to show something that's pretty cool about rabbet planes. One of the nice things about Roubaud is that because he was the illustrator, we know that these things were intentional. And here you can see that Roubaud clearly draws a rabbet plane with the iron projecting out the side, and that the edge of the iron is sharpened, the long edge, not just the cutting bevel, but the side to scrape it. Very interesting and rich plate, and this is just all in plate 13 that you can get from just staring for a few minutes at it. Let's take a quick look at plate 14, which has a lot of really cool stuff on it that relates to measuring tools. After staring at this for a long time myself, you sort of get the idea from looking at this that these are winding sticks, and Roubaud shows how to use them here, which is a very clear illustration of winding sticks. And I know that Don Williams is going to cover these winding sticks in the translation, but there's enough information here for you to take away some cool detail in making your own winding sticks. Here are some classical squares, including a miter square, which is clearly made all from one piece of wood. And I really love these French gauges, which obviously operate on a wedging principle. But you can tell, because there's some scaling marks and stuff here, exactly how big these are. And obviously we have a mortise gauge here. Pretty cool idea in that you can look at the plate and there are several mortises laid out all on one beam that locks with sort of an octagonal head. Pretty cool stuff. And here are some bench chisels that Roubaud calls out. Obviously tang. I don't know if he shows any socket chisels in the book. But I love these handles. They're obviously drawn this way to be this way. A little different than what you see in other books, that consistently this flat appears on the handle that aligns with the blade, which is actually really smart if you think about it for a minute, that your chisel will naturally roll onto this flat and keep the edge from projecting off the bench top and hurting you. So something else, a little detail drawn in there that's pretty cool. So once again, here is Roubaud using some sort of winding stick here to show how to get rid of a cupped board, or something that's crooked over its length. And over here we have figure 17, which I wrote about on the blog over the weekend. That is the doe's foot. That is Richard McGuire's notched batten. And then one of the other cool things is, because Roubaud drew these figures of workmen working, there's a lot that we can learn from these, because Roubaud in the translation really discusses how you stand at the bench at a lot of places. And so let's get in a little closer and see what we can see. These plates are absolutely crisp and brilliant, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to produce the book of plates. But you can see very clearly here how the worker has his feet oriented to, and also where the bench top is in relationship to his thigh, which is something that Roubaud talks about. So there's a lot of information packed into these little bitty illustrations that look like they just might fill the page, but they actually are telling us a lot of things, not only about how to stand and how to work, but the tools that are used in the rack. These racks appear consistently throughout the book, and the position of holdfast holes, which is not consistent from bench to bench, but really bench to bench within the book of plates, but really, can just relate to how different hole spacings can be used and justified in your shop. And that's way more than I really wanted to talk on video today. So maybe we'll hit a few more of these later on.